Hi, welcome back, guys. My name is Ajay, and today, what is the topic? Uh, I will be actually discussing a very small project with you, but very useful for those who wants to understand how Python can do the automation on Excel, how we can do the Excel automation using the Python. All right. Now, this can be achieved using Excel VB also, which is always one of my favorites language, but we are going to see this using the Python. All right. And so, first of all, let's immediately see that what we are supposed to do and how our data actually looks like. So, let's go and start it. So, as you can see, this is my data basically. Okay. And in this data, we have order IDs, we have dates, we have customer name, we have products, quantity, price, total. So, total is we have to calculate, and there are some issues. Some dates are blank, and the customer name is in not a proper case. So we have to do all this. Like what we want to target is, we want to do is the dates that are blank, they should be filled by the previous date. Okay, the president's date. So we should have here the same date, and we should have here the same date. I mean, wherever we have the blanks. I'm going to use the pie chart. You can use Jupyter Notebook as well, whatever. So first of all, we have mentioned here what we are supposed to do. We will fill the dates null with the president's value, convert the names to a proper case, then calculate the total sales. Once everything is done, we will go and do we will save the file as a new Excel file. At the same time, what if you do not want to do the changes? You do not want to create a new file, but you want to go and create a new sheet in the existing Excel file, which means the file that I've shown you. So we will actually go and use both ways. Okay. So I'm going to just delete this because we want to start from the scratch. Let me save the file. Okay. So let's just close this file. Okay. So first of all, we have to go and import the library. So I'm just going to actually use here the pandas library. Okay. So we will just name this as PD alias name. So we can use this PD now. Now, the plan is how you actually go and import the data, how we go and read the Excel file, right? Because we need the Excel data here. Only then we can go and work on it. So we will use a data frame here. You can give this any name. I give this a name called DF, data frame. Okay, because data frame in pandas will allow me to use all those methods or the functions that are required to do the Excel automation. Okay, so first of all, we have to go and bring the data here. So just use this pandas. Okay, and we will use the read Excel. We will use the read Excel because we want to import the data. If you hover here, you can see all the functions. Like when you read the Excel file, then there is a sheet name here. The headers are there, the names are there, the index columns are there, uh, the number rows, skip rows. So these are all the different parameters. Okay, so what we will do actually here is we will just say that we want to read the data. So let's go to the file. Let me right click on this. I want to capture the path of this file, the properties, and I'm going to capture this from the security, copy the file, and here we will just type in the address. We will type in here the address, and I'm going to prefix this with the R. Okay, I'll tell you the reason why I'm using the R. So just have this as the double quotes. Okay, now in order to see that if the file is imported here, we can just go and say I want to see the data frame. So right click anywhere here and run this. The name of this module is dummy. So I'm just going to click on this. Let me see that how the data is going to come here. And as you can see, we have got the data here. So we have the data. All right. So total is blank. If you remember, that's why you see here NAN value. Okay. This is for the blank. And here also you can see that we have here NAN. Okay. So basically for all the blanks, this is what we have. And as I said that this is where now we actually want to go and do the calculation. So all these, the values that you see, basically these are not a number. And that is how the Python interprets the data. All right. Anyways, this is what we are actually going to sort out, right? So we have successfully imported the data. Now, one thing I want to tell you that if you hover here, you can always see the parameters. See this, right? You can always see the parameters. Now, one of the parameter here is the headers, which is 0, right? Now, if, for example, I just wanted to give you this one very important information because uh, at one point in time, I was struggling with it. If I say that, for example, I just say that headers equals to 1, for example, right? And I'm going to re-import the data. The headers are gone. So basically what happens, the first row becomes your header. You can see that, right? So if you are facing this type of a problem by chance, then now you know what you have to do. Okay, so make this header 0 or even don't mention it, right? Let me just run this again. So this is just a small information for you. If you get stuck around it, then you know how to solve it. So we have this. So of course you can remove this. All right. So once we have the data here, so what we have done so far, imported the import the Excel file here. Okay. Now the next thing, so we don't need the now this. I can comment this control backslash. So once we have the data frame, now what is the next thing we want to do? The next thing that we want to do is we want to actually fill the dates. We want to fill the dates. So let me just copy this here. Okay. And just go here and say control backslash. This will put the hash before the line and this begins the comment. Okay. Now how we can do this? Now the thing is in Python, most of the things are pretty straightforward. You don't really have to uh, dig deeper into the logics because they have the plain syntax and you have to just go and write it as it is. Of course, if there are some problems in that syntax, you have to sort out. But I mean, Python does most of the work with these the crystal clear the straight the lines. I mean, they are very straight, right? Like for example, in this case, if you go and try to use a VBA, you will have to go and use the filters. You have to find out where is the blank and then you have to pick the previous value. All that you can do, of course, by using a macro also. We are not debating here which is a better language. I'm just telling you. But in Python, the things work differently, right? Here, the number of steps are less. Again, I'm saying it does not mean that I'm saying that Python is better than VBA. I love VBA as well. And for me, I think knowing multiple languages is always something, that is very beneficial, right? So the step that I'm going to do is what we will do is we will simply go and say that the data frame has to be. So here now I'm just going to use this method. As you can see here, there's fill NA. Okay, so this is especially for these situations where you have to fill the null values. So just go and write fill NA. And here, suppose if I have to fill something in a text, let's say I want to fill this with some word called hello. Okay, so I will just go and write here hello. So now if you go and print this, now let me just run it. Let's see that. And now if you run it, you can see that we have got the, the words. You have got this hello here, you have got this here and here as well. So what is happening? If you apply in this way, first of all, the word will come, right? So we don't want this word here, this particular word here, isn't it? I want this only restricted to this date. So you have to mention here in your data frame, this has to be a date column. And second thing is I don't want the hello, but I want the previous values. Okay. So how we can do this? So let's go and first of all modify this. So you will refer to the field that is called date. And here also we will write in the skip brackets the field. Make sure uppercase, lowercase, everything has to be correct. And now this is where now we will not write hello. If you just go and write this in this way, let's see that what is going to happen. So, and yes, you have to write the single quotes. I am so sorry about this. Single quote. And now let's run the code. So now if you see here, we have got this value, right? And here we don't have. Make sense, right? So now the next thing is that, so we will use here F fill, or you can use B fill, right? Backward fill, forward fill. These are the two things. Okay. So if I have to actually go and take the previous value, I will use F fill. If you have to go and use if you have to put here the next value, then you will use the B fill. Okay. This one. Let me just comment for your information. B fill. Okay. So let's just go and run this. Now, when you run this, you're again back to the square one. You again see here the value F fill because it is considered as a text. It is considered as a value. So what mistake we are doing here? If you go and see this, the parameter, this fill NA, see here. See, there is a parameter here called value. And then there is another parameter called method. So by default, this fill NA, this accepts whatever you write in the codes. This goes in this value parameter, but we don't want the value. We want the method. So we have to explicitly write here the method. So I'm just going to write here the method. Okay, method equals to. Now, if I rerun this program, let's see that what is going to happen. So such things can trouble you. Okay, that's why it is said that fundamentals needs to be strong. Okay, even if you are using the chat GPT, you will not be able to modify the code if you do not know the basics, right? So let's go and check this. And now, as you can see here, we have got the dates. Fantastic. We have got the dates. So method was the thing. So our first step actually is done, right? Now, what is the next thing I want to do? Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to make the customer names in a proper case. So every first initial has to be like for John, J, and for Doe, this is the capital. It has to be capital D. Okay. So what we are going to do now? Again, now you will look for something that can, a function that can actually do this. In different languages, you have different ways of doing it, isn't it? I mean, the functions are different. Like in Excel, you have a proper. In VBA also, you can use that, right? And here in the Python, we can do this using the strings property. So what I'm going to do is, I'm simply going to say that, again, I will pick my data frame and we will say customer name, C capital, customer name equals to, now we will just go and write the customer name dot str, and we're going to use the title like this. Okay, string title, we need this. And after this, I'm going to print the data frame again. So let's go and see. Now, since we have already done this, so I'm just going to comment this. Let's quickly run this. Let's see that if we have a problem here, how we can sort out this. Okay. String method object has no attribute title. Oh, did you mean title? Yes. Actually, I feel very uncomfortable while working with the, in the Python. The reason being is, to be very honest, this case sensitivity really kills me, because I have used Excel and the VBA and even the SQL server for such a long time, and they don't have all these issues, right? So, but thanks to the Power Query, I kind of got a bit of, I get used to it because of the Power Query M code, which is there, the case sensitivity matter a lot. Anyways, so let's go and see that. Fantastic. So now you can see that we have got the names in the correct format, and this is what we needed it. So now you have understood why I said that in Python, most of the things can be done by just a syntax, right? By just a syntax. Now, if you have to do this type of a thing in VBA, perhaps you will go for a loop. You will run the loop and you will say that from the row number 1 to row number 1000, 2000, whatever it is, depending upon your data, you will go and run the loop, and you will then start changing the values to the proper case by using a VBA function, of course, right? And this is where people say that I think Python is very fast, and Python uses the lesser number of you know the syntaxes. So in Python, generally, that's why we say that if you compare it with VBA, then the number of lines can significantly reduce, right? However, working in a VBA is has its own advantage. I mean, it's wonderful because of its debugging tool. You can use the F8 to debug the tools, and which I really find very difficult in the Pythons in case if you are a beginner. Anyways, so this is just wanted to make this a big topic interesting for you. So now once we have done this without any loop, it's fantastic. So our again, one more step is done. Now, what is the next thing we want to do? So the next is calculate the total sales. So this is where we will write now calculate the total sales. So how are we going to calculate the total sale? Well, we have a formula here, which is so here this the total that I'm talking about, this one, this the total is going to be multiplied with this the quantity and the price. So we have to multiply basically this field and this field, right? And this is where we need the total. So it's very simple. So now because we already have the field, so we don't have to create the new field, isn't it? So we'll just go and pick again the data frame, and we'll say total, T is capital. Let me just make sure that there should be no case sensitivity issue, small or the capitals. So I'm going to say that data frame and the quantity. Okay, put the single quotes, please. And so we're going to multiply this and multiply with a field called price. Correct? So we are multiplying these two fields, and whatever we will have, that will go in the total, right? And finally, we will again go and see that what exactly is happening here. So are we getting the total or not? Let me comment this one. So let's just run this. If I will get some error, we will sort it out. Okay. I'm not going to edit the lecture. I don't do those things. Okay. So now you can clearly see that this the quantity and this price, right? So if you see here, 2 multiplied by 800, this is basically giving me 1600. Fantastic, right? So this is working. Superb. All right. So finally, we have the data. Now, the last thing, or maybe the second last thing, is that if you let's go back. So once everything is done, we have to go and export the file. Now, exporting the file is very easy. So we have to create a new file. This is what we are saying. Okay. So let's just copy this, and I'm just going to comment this. So we have to export this. Now, how you actually do that? So your data frame that you have here, right? So it has this the method. And method means action, by the way. Method means action, or whatever. Any programming language you go, method means that there is something you're going to actually do it on that object, right? And a property is different. Property tells you about the information. It doesn't do any action. Okay. So anyways, so we will use this to Excel. And now what I need, if you just hover here on, I mean, if you're interested in looking at the parameters, so let's go and see that here. So yeah, something, I guess, Excel writer, sheet name, headers, we do. Yeah, so I think we don't need anything right now. I'm just going to use the path. So I will rename this file. Actually, not rename, but we will use a different name. So I will just copy this, and we will go in the same folder. And I'm going to give this a name called sales project. Okay. This is what exactly I want to do now, right? So let's just go and run this. And I forgot to tell you about this R. So this R basically what it does, uh, in Python, the backslash, this, the one that we are using, this refers to a new line, right? This refers to a new line. When we use, sometimes we have to go in the new line. So we go and use the backslash. So this, if you write R, it basically makes this entire thing as a string. So this is very important. Okay. So let's just run this, and let's see that. Okay. So this is done, it seems to me. Let's go and check the folder. Yeah. All right, we have got the sales project here. Okay. And you can see in the preview, I have got here wonderful thing. All right, so we have the dates, we have the customer names, everything totally safe, fantastic. Now, if you are noticing that this has created the index, well, this is nice. I mean, if you want it, but if you do not want this index, you have to go and modify the code. So for this, what you're supposed to do, this this index parameter that you see here, it is true. All right. So I'm just going to say that what I want is, I'll just type here the index, you see, in, automatically the values will pop up. And I'll say that I actually don't want the index. Let me just go and run this again. Let's see first of all if there is any error or not. All right, so let's go back here and now you can see that it's gone. The index is gone. Fantastic, right? So this is how we can actually automate this. Now, so make sure this false when you write, it should not be small f. These all small details, these all, tiny things matter a lot. If you hover here, you also see that false has f as capital. Okay. Now this, this is fine. But maybe you want this in a new sheet within the same Excel file from where this data is coming. So how are we going to do that? Well, if I want to do this type of a task, then I have to make sure that my Excel file should be ready for that. The current Excel file, isn't it? It should be ready for that, isn't it? Right? So using another approach. So how are you going to do that? I have to make sure that file should be in the append mode. Append means that you're going to bring the data. You're going to bring the data, new data in the Excel file without deleting the existing data, right? Because there is a append method. There is a write method as well. WRITE. Write means it's completely going to overwrite it. Very dangerous. So make sure when you use this, you know it. So we have to go and first of all get ready for this. Now, how you're going to do this? Okay. So see, the thing is, for this we will use actually the Excel writer. Okay, Excel writer actually is a bridge. It's a bridge. So suppose now you have here this the Python and you have here the Excel, isn't it? And you have to go and deal with this, right? So here you have Excel and here you have Python, right? Now this file we have to modify. So how it is going to be done? So this is where we will go and bring that writer. This will act as a bridge. Okay. So what this Excel writer will do, it will tell the Excel that, I'm going to actually change your properties. I'm going to make you on the append mode. Very simple. Append mode. Okay. Append mode. And when I'm going to make you in the append mode, then the next, pardon me for my writing, when I'm going to, open you as an append, then what I will do, I will go and bring the data frame. Okay. So I should say data frame, not the Python. The data frame should be the right word, right? So because of the Excel writer, now this data frame, we will go and say that you actually have to go and append here. You have to go and, we have to go and append you here. So Excel writer will first enable that property here. And then we will be able to append. Now, when you're going to append, so maybe you have already 2 sheets and you want that this has to go in the third sheet. The data has to go in the third sheet. You can do that. You can create a new sheet and you can give it a name, whatever name you want, right? So everything is possible. Even in the current sheet you can do, but that is something we will not do it. So we will just go and append the data in the new sheet. We will create a new sheet. So how are we going to do this? All right. So for this, so we will use our pandas, and you see that here we have used the read Excel in the above section. Now we will use the Excel writer. Excel writer we use whenever we have to modify our Excel file, whenever we have to open it as a write on the write mode or on the append mode. Remember that, right? If I just go and hover here, there are some parameters that we actually needed. So first of all, you have to go and, you know, provide the path. Okay. Let the documentation appear here. So you have to provide the path here, right? So we will give the path that this is where the Excel file is. Okay. Because right now you have got the data in the data frame. Now we don't need the data frame. We just need the Excel file path. Okay. So we will go and provide the path. Then you have to write the engine, which is OpenPyXL, because to deal with the Excel, you have to write OpenPyXL, which is the Excel engine. Date format, all these things we don't need it. Mode, as I said, by default it is write. So don't do this, otherwise the file will be overwritten. So we will use here A for append. And then the interesting thing is if the sheet exists. If the sheet exists. So what if you are the sheet that you're creating? Suppose you're creating a sheet called ABC. If the ABC exists, then what you want to do? So this is where you can write, well, then just replace it. Though in our case, the sheet will not be there. Okay. So this is, first of all, when you go and do this, your the Excel will be ready to accept the values. So we will open the file. I'm going to, so this file is a raw file. Understand this, because in the raw file, we will just go and insert the data frame that we have already created. Are you getting the point? Right. So I'm just going to, so we are just saying that, you know, Excel writer, you just open this. Okay. You just open this. Okay. And then I'm just going to keep this as this one. So once this is done, then let's go back here. What were the other parameters? There was a parameter called engine, if you remember, right? So you can always hover here. So we have the engine and then we have the mode. So you can write in whatever way you want, but because the time you mention these parameters, P stands for parameter, Python will know that what exactly you are filling in here. So I'm just going to write here, open PyXL. Okay. And then the mode, start writing mode. Mode has to be append. Make sure you write this as append. Okay. And yeah. So, and then there was, if the file exists, the sheet exists. So we will just go and write here replace. So you have to write here like replace in this way, replace. Okay. So once you're done with this thing, this has to go somewhere, isn't it? I mean, this, whatever we are doing, we are trying to open the current Excel file, which has, uh, on which we have not done anything, right? So that file, when it is opened with this append mode, it has to be saved somewhere. I mean, the information has to go somewhere. So for that, I'm just going to write WKB like this. Okay. And then later on, we will close this. So we just have created this object. Okay. So WKB is going to open this file. This WKB will refer to this file, right? That Excel file. And then we will close this also at the end of this. Okay. We will just go and close it. But before we do that, we have to go and now take our data frame. We have to go and import the data frame to this. So just right here, now the data frame to Excel. See now, as I was telling you, there are a lot of options every time you don't need, but now we will use the sheet name here. Excel writer, if there is any. Previously, we did not use it, right? Now we're going to use this Excel writer here, and then we will use the sheet name. Okay. And that's it. And then index if we need it, or otherwise we don't need it. We have already seen that. So we can just type in here, the Excel writer, and then you can use this, the object WKB. And after this, we have to write the sheet name. If you remember, just type in your sheet, or you can hover here again and see that what was the field. So we'll give this a name called, let's say, new data or final data. And now then I'm just going to use the index also. I don't need the index. Okay. So I'm just going to keep this as false. All right. And finally, we will close this object also. So this is what actually we will go and use it. Now let me just click here, run this module, and let's see that. Okay. So, okay. So some error here, no Excel writer, open PyXL. Okay. Again, typo, not a typo, but O has to be small. Yes. let me rerun this. So you have to take care of these things. And trust me, it's not, I mean, easy to remember these things, because these are the text values and the case sensitivity is really, I mean, sometimes it kills me. Uh, Anyways, a lot of frustration comes. But this is how it is and you have to follow it. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. So finally we have done this. Now I'm just going to open the Excel file. Let's see that. So now you can see here we have got the new sheet. Fantastic. And this is the last thing that we wanted in our project. You have the original data as well here. Okay. So this is how you can create this Excel automation. And it's not going to take time because Python is pretty fast. So I hope I was able to explain you each and everything. So thank you so much. Let's meet in the next project.